Today we have a packed bulletin covering major changes that will affect millions of people across the country. A significant increase to the national minimum wage has been confirmed and is set to be implemented. We'll break down the new numbers for you. We'll also be diving deep into the government's ambitious and controversial plans for a national digital ID card system set to be completed by 2029. Furthermore, we'll explore the tough new stance on immigration, including stricter rules for visa renewals, heavy fines for landlords, and a major overhaul of the path to permanent residency. With the general election having recently reshaped the political landscape, we'll analyse the new Labour government's immigration white paper and what it means for you. Stay with us as we unpack these critical developments. Before we get there, if you've not already, subscribe to our channel and ring the notification bell for upcoming updates. We begin with some welcome news for millions of workers across the UK. The government has confirmed a significant increase to the national minimum wage, which will take effect from the 1st of April 2025. This move comes after sustained pressure from unions and workers' groups, highlighting the intense pressure the rising cost of living has placed on families nationwide. The headline figure is the national living wage, which applies to workers aged 21 and over. This will rise by 6.7% from £11.44 to £12.21 per hour. This increase is based on recommendations from the Independent Low Pay Commission, which was tasked by the new Labour government to ensure the minimum wage reflects the real cost of living. The government's target is for this wage to equal at least 2/3 of the median hourly pay in the country. It's not just those on the national living wage who will benefit. Younger workers are set for an even more substantial boost. The rate for 18 to 20-year-olds will jump by a remarkable 16.3% to £10 an hour. Similarly, the rate for 16-17-year-olds and apprentices will also see a major increase. The government has stated this is a step towards creating a single, unified adult wage rate for everyone. However, while the hourly rate is increasing, some analyses suggest that the take-home pay for minimum wage earners may not rise as sharply. This is due to a phenomenon known as fiscal drag, where frozen personal tax allowances mean that as pay increases, more of it becomes subject to tax. Additionally, the wage hike coincides with an increase in employer national insurance contributions, which will rise to 15% from April 2025, increasing employment costs. To soften this blow for small businesses, the government is also increasing the employment allowance, which offsets national insurance costs. This decision will impact over 3 million workers, providing a much-needed financial lift for many, particularly those with large families who've been disproportionately affected by low wages. Moving on to another major government initiative, one that promises to reshape daily life for everyone in the UK, the introduction of a national digital ID system. The Labour government has announced firm plans to roll out a mandatory digital ID for all UK citizens and legal residents, with the system expected to be fully implemented by the end of this parliament in 2029. This digital ID, sometimes referred to as the Brit card, will be stored securely on a smartphone, likely within the GOV UK Wallet app, which is being built upon the existing One Login infrastructure. For those unable to use a smartphone, the government has promised that alternative non-digital options will be available. So, what will this card be used for? The government states its primary purpose is to combat illegal migration by making it impossible to work or rent property in the UK without one. It will become the mandatory method for employers and landlords to verify a person's identity and their right to work or rent. The digital ID will hold key information such as your name, date of birth, photo, and, crucially, your nationality or residency status. This ties directly into a crackdown on landlords who rent to individuals without a valid visa. Penalties for failing to conduct proper right-to-rent checks have already been massively increased. As of early 2024, a landlord could be fined up to £10,000 per occupier for a first-time breach, and a staggering £20,000 for repeat offences. The old system of checking physical biometric residence permits has been phased out, replaced by a digital process where tenants provide a UCV share code to prove their status. This digital ID system is the next evolution of that process, creating a single, verifiable source of truth. The government claims the ID will also streamline access to public services like driving licenses, welfare, and tax records. However, the plan has ignited a fierce debate around civil liberties. Critics have raised serious concerns about data privacy, the risk of a digital surveillance infrastructure, and the potential for system errors to lock people out of essential services, as has been seen with existing digital visa schemes. The recent general election, which saw the Labour Party win a historic landslide victory, has ushered in a period of profound change for UK immigration policy. Responding to public concern and the rising influence of parties like Reform UK, the new government has published a detailed white paper titled Restoring Control over the Immigration System. This document outlines a tougher, more restrictive approach across the board. One of the most significant proposals is a complete overhaul of the path to permanent residence, or indefinite leave to remain ILR. For decades, the standard qualifying period has been 5 years. The government now plans to double this to 10 years for most visa categories. Furthermore, simply residing in the UK for the required period will no longer be enough. The Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood has announced a new set of strict conditions. To qualify for ILR, applicants will need to prove they have been consistently in work, paying national insurance, and have not been claiming benefits. They will also be required to have a spotless criminal record and demonstrate a high standard of English proficiency. The government is even consulting on requiring applicants to show evidence of community service or volunteering. This is a direct response to the more radical policies of the Reform Party, which has called for the complete abolition of ILR, a move the Prime Minister has branded as racist and immoral. Labour argues its plan is a fair but tough approach that rewards contribution. The crackdown also extends to criminal checks for all visa applications and renewals. The good character requirement is being applied with increased rigour. Any applicant with a cruel sentence of 12 months or more will normally be refused. Even non-custodial sentences or out-of-court disposals must be declared, regardless of whether they are spent. Misleading the Home Office by failing to disclose a conviction can lead to a 10-year ban from the UK. This scrutiny also applies to financial matters, with issues like tax fraud or unpaid debts being grounds for refusal. The government's new agenda also places a heavy emphasis on public safety and managing population growth, two issues that have become closely linked in political discourse. To tackle rising crime, the government is expanding the use of controversial technologies. In August 2025, it was announced that live facial recognition (LFR) technology will be rolled out to more police forces across the UK. The Metropolitan Police, for instance, is more than doubling its use of LFR, deploying camera-equipped vans to scan faces in public and match them against watch lists of wanted criminals, with a focus on high-harm offenders like sex offenders and robbers. This is part of a wider strategy to create safe streets and is being implemented alongside the digital ID system. The government is also taking a harder line on foreign national offenders. There are proposals to deport foreigners convicted of any offence, not just serious ones. This comes as data from the Ministry of Justice, released in mid-2025, shows that foreign nationals now account for 12% of the total prison population in England and Wales. The figures show 10,772 foreign nationals were in prison as of June 2025, with Albanians, Poles and Romanians being the most common nationalities after crowd. British citizens. The government argues that with prisons overcrowded, deporting foreign criminals is a necessary step. These policies are set against the backdrop of near-record population growth. ONS figures released in September 2025 revealed that the UK population grew by over 755,000 in the year to mid-2024, reaching an estimated 69.3 million. This was the second largest annual increase in 75 years, and it was driven almost entirely by net international migration, which accounted for 98% of the growth. England saw the fastest growth, followed by Scotland and Wales. This mass immigration, as some have termed it, has become a central political issue, fueling calls for the stricter controls that the new government is now beginning to implement. While the government forges ahead with its plans for stricter immigration controls, warnings are coming from a critical sector: healthcare. Medical unions and healthcare leaders are sounding the alarm that these new restrictive policies could accelerate the staffing crisis in the NHS and social care. The government's white paper included measures that took effect in July 2025, such as closing the visa route for overseas care workers and raising the minimum skill level for a skilled worker visa to the equivalent of a graduate degree. The Royal College of Nursing warned in May 2025 that these measures could trigger an exodus of migrant staff at a time when the NHS has over 34,000 unfilled nurse posts. A BMJ report in September 2025 highlighted the NHS's heavy reliance on overseas staff, noting that in 2023, over 2/3 of new doctors had trained ECAL outside the UK. The new English language requirement is also a factor. While intended to improve integration, it's been noted that the NHS incurs significant costs for translators. Proponents argue that ensuring all staff have high English proficiency could reduce this financial burden and improve patient safety. The social care sector is also under intense scrutiny. The Care Quality Commission, or CQC, has been conducting ongoing inspections of care homes. Recent reports from September 2025 show that a number of homes have been rated inadequate or requires improvement and placed in special measures for failing to meet safety and governance standards. With the main visa route for care workers now closed to new applicants, there are serious questions about how these vacancies will be filled and whether standards of care can be maintained. From a rising minimum wage to a complete re-engineering of our immigration system, the UK is in the midst of a period of dramatic transformation. The changes are far-reaching, touching everything from your pay packet to how you prove your identity to the very fabric of our public services. Here at Visa News Daily, we will continue to follow every development, bringing you the factual, unbiased analysis you need. Thank you for watching. Join us next time for the latest news and updates.